If you thought Wendy Williams' worst moment was being trapped in what she called a luxury prison, you're about to be hit with a reality check. What do you mean her ex-husband Kevin Hunter and the production team were keeping her just stable enough to show up for work and keep the show running? Isn't that basically poisoning her? And Sharina Hudson knew the whole time? There's some cold-blooded nastiness behind the scenes of Wendy's life that most of us aren't even ready to process. But here's the good news. Wendy is done with it all, and she's ready to reclaim her power. In a series of recent interviews, Wendy has made it clear that she's determined to regain control over her finances and decisions, igniting conversations everywhere about her shocking situation. Let's take a step back. Remember in 2022 when Wendy Williams was placed under guardianship after Wells Fargo labeled her an incapacitated person and accused her of being a target for undue influence and financial exploitation? At the time, Wendy fired back, accusing the bank and her former financial advisor, Lori Schiller, of conspiring to mismanage her finances. And by now, you all know who Lori Schiller is. For me, not good, Wendy said, recalling her frustrations. I began asking questions about what's going on with my money, and she had no answers for me. Since then, Wendy's life has been an absolute roller coaster. From multiple stints in rehab and a string of illnesses, to Kevin Hunter dragging her to court over alimony payments. Her guardian, Sabrina Morsi, reportedly keeping her from her family, and even being declared cognitively impaired and permanently incapacitated. A diagnosis Wendy herself dismissed as a complete joke. You know what they said? You're cognitively impaired and incapacitated, Wendy explained. Do I seem that way? No. You've been calling me 5 times a day for the last 2 weeks. Do I seem that way? How dare they? Wendy didn't hold back her anger, saying, "Who I naturally am is who I naturally am, you know, and my niece knows all about it. I'm sorry, I apologize, but to be clear, I can't leave. They won't allow me to leave or visit family. I can't even take a walk if I wanted to." And if that wasn't enough, the shocking revelations just keep coming. Wendy has recently opened up about how Kevin Hunter and her production team were poisoning her for years. Yes, poisoning. Anyone following Wendy's story knows that she had big plans to return to radio after divorcing Kevin Hunter. It was her way of reclaiming her independence and rebuilding her career. But the entertainment industry is so tightly knit that word got out. And from there, things only spiraled further. When Kevin Hunter got wind of Wendy Williams' plans to leave television and return to radio, he wasn't about to let it happen. Instead, he allegedly hatched a plan with the production team to keep Wendy medicated, just enough to ensure she could still show up for work and film the show. And do you want to know how they were allegedly doing it? Through her tea. Yes, her tea. Longtime Wendy watchers know that every day as she took her seat, Wendy would drop a tea bag into her cup. But here's the thing, she wasn't the one pouring the hot water. That's reportedly how they were allegedly slipping her the drugs. Now, I need whoever was responsible for pouring that hot water to step forward, because that person was allegedly being used to poison Wendy. Whatever was being put in her tea started to have side effects, and it became obvious. This might explain those unsettling moments on set when Wendy appeared out of it, as well as the infamous fall she took while wearing that green suit. Reportedly, that fall wasn't just a random incident, but partly caused by whatever was being slipped into her tea. Do you realize what this means? Kevin Hunter and the production team were allegedly drugging Wendy for years. The plan, reportedly, was to keep her medicated as long as possible, milk her for all she was worth, and then delete her when she was no longer useful. Let that sink in. Now, I know this sounds absolutely sickening, like something out of a twisted Hollywood thriller. let's be real. We've seen enough shady things in Hollywood to know this isn't far-fetched. How many stars have been used by so-called elites and then mysteriously deleted in some bizarre accident? This kind of story is disturbingly common, so it's no shock that Wendy might have been a target too. Reports suggest Kevin Hunter was allegedly not only aware of the plan, but orchestrated it. And get this, his mistress, Sharina Hudson, reportedly knew about the drugging too. To make matters worse, the production team allegedly played a role in getting Wendy placed under guardianship. And all the courtroom drama with Kevin? Some believe it's nothing but theatrics, as he's allegedly still in cahoots with them. For many fans, these revelations are starting to piece things together. Wendy watchers have even pointed out moments on the show when Wendy herself hinted at being drugged. In one episode, she reportedly said, "If you're going to put a pill in my tea, at least stir it well so I don't see the residue. I'm not drinking that." And now, the questions are piling up. Did Norman or Susan know what was going on? What about the Wendy show producer who allegedly self-deleted after Wendy's departure? Was that connected somehow? There are so many layers to this story, and the more we learn, the darker it gets. There's more to this story than meets the eye. Remember when that producer reportedly self-deleted after stealing money from the budget? Something about it felt off. Maybe, just maybe, he wanted to spill some serious tea. And what about that wellness check at Wendy Williams' house when there were claims that Kevin was allegedly poisoning her? What if that was true? OMG, the layers to this story are endless. But one thing is for sure, Wendy is done being a victim, and she's fighting to take back control of her narrative. Over the past few days, Wendy has been doing interviews, shedding light on her situation, and changing the conversation. Right now, she's in a care facility in New York, which she describes as nothing short of a luxury prison. This facility might bring her meals in bed and handle her medications, but Wendy has admitted she's not even sure she needs half of them. She's also pointed out that many of the residents are in their 80s and 90s, and even those in their 50s or 60s seem to have serious health issues, unlike her. Wendy, of course, didn't hold back, saying, "I'm sexy and gorgeous. July 18th, 1964, look at me." She went on to describe her frustrations, emphasizing that there's nothing wrong with her, like there is with others at the facility. Wendy also shared how restrictive her life has become. She can't receive phone calls, use a laptop, or even have an iPad. Most of her days are spent confined to her room. These limitations mean she's cut off from her family, a concern her relatives have been vocal about since she was placed under guardianship. Recently, a source revealed that Wendy is under strict guardianship, with very little contact with the outside world. Her family is deeply troubled, desperate to see more of her, check on her, and spend time with her. They've expressed heartbreak over not being able to take her out for simple joys like shopping or ice cream. The guilt is real, and they feel helpless as they watch her situation deteriorate. They're praying for a breakthrough and hoping the courts will make a decision to change things soon. Now, some might wonder why Wendy's family hasn't done more to help, but it's not as simple as it seems. Like Wendy herself has said, the system is completely broken. This system, it's messed up. You know, the system that I'm in, it's falsified a lot, she explained. And when they labeled her cognitively impaired and incapacitated, Wendy didn't hold back her anger. Do I seem that way? No. You've been calling me 5 times a day for the last 2 weeks. Do I seem that way? No, I don't. Wendy's family insists they're doing everything they can to support her, but the system has tied their hands.